give it a shot. Bust out the guillotine, it's super hot. Just drizzle on the guillotine to make it right. Yeah, it's a guillotine kind of night.
The more guillotine, the better. Guillotine pepper sauce. Heat the rich.
Yeah, it's a guillotine kind of night.
All right. That jingle was made by my buddy Joe Man out of Austin, Texas for Guillotine Hot Sauce. Hot sauce for the revolution. We do pro bono ads for small businesses with the correct politics around here. Shop link in the description. All right. So, hello and welcome to Colonial Outcasts, the anti-imperialist podcast that will be connecting the absurd ICE and National Guard show force at MacArthur Park yesterday in LA, codenamed Operation Excalibur, to Netanyahu's presidential dinner at the White House last night, where he talked about voluntary migration out of Gaza, a sort of self-deportation, if you will, if that sounds familiar. Governments learn from each other, and we're all bound together by empire. I'm your host, Greg Stoker, joined by co-host Mark Wayne and Travis, regular military contributor here at Colonial Outcasts. He was a field grade officer in the Texas National Guard, so perfect commentator for this episode. Yes, yet somehow this is going to be depressing, yet somehow hopeful episode lined out for you. What an absolute mess. Somehow the prolific journalist Ken Klippenstein got a hold of the National Guard op order for this stupid cluster F, as we used to call it in the military. Sorry, can't use the F-bomb in the first 3 minutes of a YouTube video. In short, there were too many agencies involved, and what they needed to cut out, and the efficiency is the Gestapo 2.0, which is why we're seeing a conflation via joint operations between military and federal paramilitary units. So we're going to do an after-action report and then talk about like the Epstein files and some commentary about how to reach out to people who are disaffected about broken promises. So anyways, how are y'all doing?
Fantastic. I was just checking out Guillotine Hot Sauce. They have a wax-dipped oligarch edition that I'm very interested
in. Really?
Yeah. I was about to say I ate a burrito this morning. I could have used that.
All right.
Yeah, doing good. I'm excited to talk about this total clown circus. So, yeah.
Oh, awesome. Hey, by the way, thanks, guys, for letting me know my audio sucked. I had to change over to my actual mic. So thanks, y'all. Anyways, I should be sounding better now, do I?
You do. Sound great, bro.
Okay, thanks. All right. Well, before we start, let's kind of...
I just think you always sound so amazing. I can't tell. I'm sorry.
Thanks.
I know, dude.
Shut up.
All right, so seduced.
Let's take a look at some dystopian footage from yesterday. ICE in full kits on horseback, in formation, clearing through an empty park. Hell yeah, we got dudes like looking like they're in the sandbox, walking online in a police call in full tack gear, followed by row after row of shock cavalry.
Who lost their nods, man?
So basically the reference Travis is making is usually when you get online like that, it's because someone has lost a sensitive item like night vision, and now everybody in the platoon has to go walk online and look for it. That's kind of what that entire operation reminded me of. And so, the way the Associated Press framed it is federal officers and National Guard troops fanned out, looking not for nods, but for mostly empty Los Angeles parklands in a largely immigrant neighborhood on foot, horseback, and military vehicles on Monday for about an hour before abruptly leaving an operation that local officials said deemed designed to show fear. And of course, about 90 members of the National Guard were present to protect immigration officers, defense officials said. Of course, the mayor of Los Angeles, Karen Bass, who I don't think anybody really likes, showed up at the park alongside activists. And now let's take a look at some aerial footage for the next 30 seconds just to highlight a problem that we're seeing emerge.
We haven't seen much in the way of detentions at this point, but we see a lot of confrontation. What are you seeing? Absolutely. There's a lot of activity and a big deployment here, bigger than we've really seen in the past for the most part. You see the armored vehicle traveling right through MacArthur Park right now. You see a lot of people trying to antagonize them, if you will, coming up to the vehicle, stopping it, and LAPD has just responded. It looks like LAPD is going to be involved in some crowd control. You see them there on the bottom of your screen, but we'll push back into the armored vehicles. One of the things that is so difficult, these agents are not identified. You can't tell if it's ICE. You can't tell if it is National Guard. We had a convoy of National Guard vehicles go through here a few moments ago, and they left. We have 4 or 5 bands standing by as well, and then all the other unmarked vehicles. You can see the crowd is getting closer and closer to what could be ICE agents.
Yeah, we don't know for sure, and that's kind of a problem. You know, it doesn't seem like anybody knew what was going on with this operation. It was a scary show of force. It was dystopian, but it was also, now we're at the 5-minute mark in the time of recording, an absolute clusterfuck.
Are they ICE agents? Are they sweaty mil-spec cosplay dorks? Is there a difference? I don't know. Yeah, that's a clown show. I don't. And when you read Operation, you read their little con op. The show of force. It was basically like the mission was to go stand in the park and instigate some shit. Like that's exactly how it reads. There's no like operational goal to achieve there. And I did want to point out, Greg, the other reason for that walking online formation is picking up trash. That's the other reason.
Oh, yes, that's also why in the military everybody walks online. It's
other than that, I've never seen anybody fucking do that. It's useless. But yeah,
I mean, looking at the Operation Excalibur executive summary, in 1 second, I want to talk about operation names for a second. Why did they choose such like an epic name for like the lamest shit ever?
It should have been Operation Wet Fart. I would have been more accurate. Well, I don't understand.
Now, for all time, they cannot reuse Operation Excalibur again. Like they wasted it.
What if we have a future operation where pulling out a magic sword is a super great analogy for? Yeah, it's just ridiculous.
Also, like what I don't want to like wax too much into this, but maybe Mark has some commentary on like why the operation name, because it's like, you know, it's going back to white legend, you know, where Arthur, King of the Britons, also fought other white people, the Saxons. Because that's what we used to do before this construct of white supremacy came along.
Was Operation Crusader not available? Sorry.
I mean, it probably already existed. But if you look at this Operation Excalibur executive summary, it starts with the civil analysis, civilian population, density and target area and potential for collateral damage, high density of civilians in complex urban terrain, moderate to high potential for collateral damage if threat activity requires use of lethal force in a kinetic engagement. Then it lists like important landmarks, like right across from the park is literally the Consulate General of Mexico. Yeah. So like key task for the 118th Cavalry Squadron is to, you know, secure key terrain, protect DHS security points, provide area security, enable civil freedom of movement, support law enforcement, and comply with rules for the use of force. But if we go to the second slide, and you can actually see the deployment of blocking positions along these phase lines as well. What are we basically looking at here?
I'm loving this. So you're set up, the positions that you're setting up in, right? Your forward line of troops to your immediate rear for like what 60, 65, 70% of this space behind you is a fucking lake that you can't back up through. So that's a great setup right there. Let's withdraw to phase line bulldog there. Oh shit, sorry, everybody's drowning. Fantastic operational planning here.
Yeah, so we see phase line wildcat, phase line bulldog, phase line gators. So what is a phase line supposed to be? Because this is funny.
So these are graphic control measures. So these are supposed to be some kind of coordination point where, like, you know, if someone says one of these names, phase line such and such, we all have a mental picture of, oh, that's the 72nd, you know, easting on the map, right? This is some, you know, or a road or something, or sometimes they're just completely arbitrary, but some kind of coordination line between the groups. Greg, I was curious what you thought, or Mark, what you guys thought of these, them having restricted fire lines on them on here, and also the fact that they make a triangle sort of, which I thought was super fucking weird.
Intersecting lines of fire into a triangle. Yeah.
They've got these restricted fire lines on the left and on the right here, but they also have one that goes east-west at the top there, right atop the lake.
And also, like they have these blocking positions, right? That are supposed to block traffic, control traffic, whatever. It's pretty standard, like basic infantry tactics. But yeah, the blocking positions that they have set up are 4 Humvees for blocking position 2, 1 deuce and a half, 24 like almost a platoon size element of med-track, 2 cops, and like 15 other officers. Like what? Like why?
And then just to, like, all of these things always start with like what is the task and purpose, right? What is the operational what are the effects? What are the effects that you want to achieve here? And when you go read this one, what's the actual language? The purpose is to enable and protect the execution of joint federal law enforcement missions in a high visibility urban environment and to demonstrate federal reach and presence. So this was supposed to be a fuck you presence patrol for the feds, right? That's what this is supposed to be, because there's no like arrest X person, protect this government building. No, we're going to go to a site that has no real tactical value. Apparently fake IDs are being sold here, but I got news for you. If you've ever been to fucking Los Angeles, that's about 9 million places in Los Angeles where you can buy a fake ID. I bought my first fake ID there when I was 17. I bought that in Los Angeles. Anyone in SoCal also did the same, probably. But yeah, like there's no, so you're going to go to a site in the middle of LA that's going to attract immediate attention and immediate crowds. You're going to attract crowds getting there. You're immediately
getting close, Travis. You're getting close to the answer.
Somebody's going to get fucking shot.
Okay. Are you guys done trying to rationalize what's going on? Because I feel like
we always do that. We always try to make
I always wind up in this position of watching you and Greg go back and forth with this rationalization, with this dumbfounded look on your face, trying to analyze from a tactical perspective. Y'all are missing the point. Y'all are missing the point.
No, I think the point was to start a fight. That's what I think the point was.
Okay, you're close. You're getting close. The point was it was a photo op for, ICE strength and paramilitary police power, but more importantly, it was a photo op for Karen Bass. So I've been trying to pinpoint exactly why ICE is executing these inefficient and provocative raids, and besides normalizing a militarized police state, like you pointed out, Greg, and besides trying to beat fear into future dissenting Americans against the U.S. government. And besides it being used as a marketing strategy to attract the most depraved dorks living in their parents' basements to become the empire's new brown shirt army, they are trying to manufacture a civil war. They're trying to manufacture, and they're trying to enforce the dichotomy between the Democrats and Republicans. So they're trying to bring in this force of fascism, and then the Democrats are the heroes coming in the day. So if you guys really, truly were paying attention to the situation that happened in MacArthur Park, you would have noticed the theater and acting that went involved in this little photo op. Let's play it.
Oh, is it Karen Bass handing the phone?
Years traveling into conflict areas, it's the way a city looks before a coup. The administration is continuing what I have framed as an all-out assault, a military assault on our city.
What a disgrace, what's happening in MacArthur Park.
This is Gavin Newsom now.
What theater? On the 6 month.
He unironically said the word theater. Him being a part of the theater, by the way.
Month anniversary, after all, of these fires. That's the message from the polluted heart of the President of the United States. The polluted heart of Stephen Miller. Those National Guard men and women that were out there protecting people are now being used as political pawns. Out there on horsebacks running through soccer fields in the middle of the day, timed around announcements and events like this.
Okay, we're moving on to the actual photo op that was set up in MacArthur Park. Okay, first, I want you to notice the angle of the camera here. They are facing directly at this Border Patrol agent. He is clearly on the phone. He's clearly acting. He's clearly putting on this demeanor that, okay, sir. Okay, got it. Yeah, I'm going to hand you the phone to Karen right now for the cameras. I don't know what to do, so just watch this play
real quick. Wait, real quick.
Hold on.
Sorry, I'm sorry, just for the audience. This is Karen Bass at the actual MacArthur Park, and there's an ICE agent, and as Mark said, camera angle, it's perfectly lined up on him, and he's about to hand the phone, again, as Mark said, to the mayor of LA, who's going to handle the whole situation.
Are you down by the Bearcat there?
Karen Bass is down here. I think we're going
the white vehicle, we can walk that way.
and she's trying to get a briefing.
All right, he's getting ready to depart.
I want you to notice the facial expressions. It's very performative, it's very animated, and it's very clearly staged.
Walk that way and hope
We're trying to, I tried to get the sheriff out. The sheriff's in.
Here's the hero.
We're like a block away. We're following them.
Yeah, and then Karen Bass is talking to him. He talks to his boss on the phone. He's handing her the phone.
Let's skip forward a little bit.
Karen Bass is a liar. Karen Bass is a liar.
And we actually hold on, sorry.
No, the Olympics are coming in 2028.
We actually have somebody who caught on to what was happening. There's a guy in the background saying Karen Bass is a liar. The reason why he's saying that is because everybody in LA has realized, thankfully, which is why I'm very proud of the people of California right now. They are all catching on to the fact that if Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass wanted to stop ICE, they easily could have. They could order the local police departments to stop cooperating. At the very least, tell them to stop cooperating and offering them cover. The only city that actually did that against Karen Bass and against Gavin Newsom's wishes was the mayor of Bell, California, which I talked to one of my homies who lives in Bell, who was there at the moment when Bell drove out ICE. And it was actually cooperation between the fire department, the local high school, tow trucks, and believe it or not, the police department, which was facing the other police department, which was backing up ICE, which was Huntington Park Police. So they're trying to frame this as a opposition between the Democrats and Republicans. And if you notice the rhetoric that we're coming out of the Democratic Party right now, you notice that they are adopting violent resistance, revolutionary language. And then the Republicans are responding saying, hey, the Democrats are encouraging violence against us. So they're creating this false dichotomy. And the more that we play into it, the more we back up the Democrats, we are actually harming ourselves, because we're signaling to the right that, hey, this is us Democrats versus you Republicans, and we have to destroy that narrative. So that was the real reason why for the MacArthur Park situation. It was not really, yes, it may have been a show of force, a stupid photo op for ICE. I think more so it was a photo op for Karen Bass to enforce the narrative that the Democrats are standing as a bulwark against fascism. So while I
agree with part of it, but I'm telling you, Mark, I don't buy wholeheartedly that Karen Bass, the mayor of the mayor of Los Angeles, orchestrated 3 federal agencies.
No, it was more.
No. You're not getting what I'm saying. This is a coordinated effort between ICE, between Bass, and between the powers that be to enforce the narrative. This is not Karen Bass is not the mastermind.
Part I'm not agreeing with, but okay.
Okay, no, it's not just that. It's also who is else on the ground: ATF, Customs Border Patrol, DEA, FBI, Federal Prison Service.
I do think that those agencies absolutely were trying to set up a situation wherein they would get attacked, they would get some kind of Seattle-like footage, and then they'd be able to use that in the terms that you're talking about. To use that to justify their behavior to the MAGA base, to these people. Like, look what happened. They're attacking the National Guard. They're attacking DHS, units just trying to do their job. But again, that's why I keep going back to the fucking task and purpose of the supposed operation is ludicrous, unless you look at it in the vein of it was totally designed to cause a confrontation and do nothing else. There was no actual DHS mission here. You weren't trying to capture dangerous illegals. You weren't trying to go toe to toe with MS-13. You were going to go stand in a fucking park in fixed positions and cause a riot. Like, that's literally, and if you read what's being prepared for here, they know that's going to happen.
Yeah. I agree with you to an extent that it was.
And I will also say whatever National Guard officer agreed to this mission should lose his fucking job. Because this is ridiculous. Those soldiers' entire purpose there was to stand there and escalate a situation that, again, there was no actual mission going on. Escalation was the mission here. And
Right.
I think that this particular situation, I do agree with you. Yeah, I do agree with you, but not for this situation. I agree that the operations in Compton and Bell and a few other situations were designed for escalation. This particular one in MacArthur Park, if it was designed for escalation, they would have waited till there was a bigger crowd there. I mean, I think that this was a photo op. I really do, because I think the timing of Mayor Bass showing up, the mayor just doesn't show up out of nowhere.
Yeah, but the mayor also doesn't tell DHS what to do. That makes no sense.
No. You're not getting my point. I'm not saying that Mayor Bass orchestrated this. I'm saying that she cooperated with this with ICE. I think that this was a very coordinated effort between the parties to create the illusion that there is a dichotomy between Democrats and Republicans for the sake of kind of ginning up and getting Americans prepared for a civil war. I do think that's where we're heading, because we're seeing this rhetoric come out of Fox and the right wing that the Democrats are encouraging violence against state forces, and then you bring this situation, it enforces that narrative. So this is all to keep the left kind of, I think it's also to grab people on the left to somewhat of a trust environment with the Democratic Party and the Democratic figures.
Well, they've always been able to do that. But again, like civil war, no, I think it's more like a further militarization of the police to quash down on any anti-government dissent, which Democrats, establishment Democratic Party elites are a part of. And like, look, I just wanted to bring back up the op order to like look at this language. It's Operation Excalibur, threat situation. Like, this is overall threat assessment. High. Due to the current situation in Los Angeles, the overall threat to DoD personnel operating the area is high. Potential for protests to arrive on site and transition to riots. Criminal elements likely to include foreign terrorist organization MS-13 consider the park their home turf and could escalate to lethal violence. DoD personnel may be at higher risk due to general sentiment of the civilian population towards government personnel. Threat activity, known weapons, small arms, knives, fireworks, rocks, and improvised hand weapons.
Yeah, notice also that there's like 8 to 10 story. There's tall buildings around it or ringing it, and that's why I was saying, like, to me it reads like if I wanted to make guys go stand somewhere and like move out and draw fire, so to speak. If I wanted to manufacture an incident, this is how I would do it. I would make a bunch of dudes go stand in a park where they have no actual mission, but the immediate presence of DHS, ICE, etc., is going to escalate the shit out of it, and I'm going to put the National Guard there too, just for the optics of them getting shit thrown at them and potentially somebody taking a couple shots at them, right? And then I'm going to use that to justify a bunch of other behavior. I'm going to use that to justify a crackdown.
And so, like
they did in Seattle.
And so, like, yeah, the National Guard was only on target for 24 minutes. And
they were supposed to be on much longer. If you read it, they were on target for 24 minutes because the cops, in typical cop fashion, a typical federal fashion, they can't coordinate between the fucking agencies.
All these
coordination was fucked up. The guard was supposed to be there at the same time.
Right. And so, of course, it was just, anyways, whether it was a photo op, whether it was not, like, what we're seeing and what I generally would like to focus on is like this fusion now. We're seeing like this unprecedented fusion between military and what we could call ICE, like paramilitary forces. They're now doing like joint operations in a way that I think is unprecedented.
Yeah, it is unprecedented. You're right. And you're right. It is normalization. That's a big part of it. But it's also normalization and then creating the opposition to the normalization, the perceived opposition, which is the Democratic Party. They're trying to garnish their public opinion as being the alternative to this fascist fusion that you're talking about. And yeah, I think go ahead. Sorry.
No, but it's not working. Even though, like, Axios News came out with an article yesterday about like how disillusioned and disenfranchised the typical Democratic base is with the establishment, with Newsom, with Karen Bass even.
She's fucked. To me, she's trying to make political points back. Either way, whatever the coordination is, she's hosed in Los Angeles after the fire. You
bring up a great point. The fires really put, dude, I have liberal friends that are like hardcore liberals, like loyal to the Democratic Party to the day they die, and even they after the California fires were completely disillusioned with her. And that was actually a great sign, because usually I don't hold any optimism for the liberals. I usually reserve that for people like working class right. But that was a great sign. And that shows that there's now some disillusionment happening amongst liberals. And I think that this attempt, like this photo op, even though you and I may disagree on that, I think this was a very desperate attempt to recuperate that reputation with liberals.
Oh, on her part, yeah, we totally agree there. I mean, we just, we agree whether it was staged or she showed up to use it, but politician's gonna politician, so it doesn't. In the end of the day,
she's not the mastermind behind the whole thing, because I think that.
Yeah,
but here's why
anyone gives her that credit.
but here's why it's important that I'm not saying that. Here's why it's important that I'm outlining this, because if there is anybody on the right that might be watching this, understand that if this was a coordinated photo op, then that should signal to you that the Democrats and the Republicans and the fascist state are working together. If the Democrats are the enemies, guys, okay, if you're listening to this and you're on the right and you think the Democrats are the enemies, you are correct. And they are working with the fascist state to create these photo ops. What does that tell you about ICE? What does that tell you about DHS? What does that tell you about the current administration? It means that they're coordinating with Democrats to give the illusion that there is a dichotomy between the two. I want to make that very clear. That's why it's important to push this messaging, because if we can cause two people to become disillusioned, liberals and conservatives, if we message right on that point, if we hone in on that. So anyways, go ahead.
Right. I mean, but the thing is, they might try to do it, but here's also what we're getting on the other side. Axios article from yesterday, Democrats told to get shot for the anti-Trump resistance. So House Democrats told Axios that they see a growing anger among their base that has, in some cases, morphed into a disregard for American institutions, political traditions, and even the rule of law, which Democrats are known for upholding no matter what. The idea is that we're going to save every norm and that we're not going to play the Republicans' game. I don't think that's resonating with voters anymore, said one House Democrat. Another told Axios that a sense of fear and despair and anger amongst voters, quote, puts us in a different position where we can't keep following the norms of decorum. But however, zoom out for months, Democratic lawmakers have fumed that their base's demands to fight harder misunderstand the lack of legislative and investigative power afforded to the minority party in Congress. Republican, sorry, that was a Freudian slip. Representative Brad Snyder, Democrat from Illinois. We've got people who are desperately wanting us to do something. No matter what we say, they want more. Wah.
Well, yeah. Also, hey, Dick, when you guys are in charge, you support these same policies.
Exactly.
You only even pretend to resist them when you're the opposition party. You're all for this, all for these deportations. You did all these deportations too. You just didn't do it as publicly and as stupidly. This isn't a unique policy to just the GOP.
Well, not to mention, dude, Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass have been sharing biometric data.
You're fine. You're fine with genocide. You're fine with deportation. You're fine with these things. Yeah.
So I just want to make it very clear that Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass has been sharing biometric data with DHS. So they have been secretly feeding very important data that allows for these raids to be pinpointed in certain neighborhoods. So just keep that in the back of your head if you think that Karen Bass and Gavin Newsom are some, bastions of hope.
For the record, I think Karen Bass is a piece of shit, and I'm not a fan of Newsom either. So yeah, don't get it twisted.
Yeah, and I just wanted to finish. This is my favorite quote that they got from another lawmaker. Many lawmakers said these voters tend to be So what I have seen, this is another quote. What I've seen is a demand that we get ourselves arrested intentionally or allow ourselves to be victims of violence. And a lot of times that's coming from economically very secure white people, complained an 8th House Democrat. I added the complaint. Not only would that be a gift to Donald Trump, not only would it make the job of the Republicans in Congress easier if we were all mired in legal troubles, we are a group that is disproportionately people of color, women, LGBTQ people who do not fare very well in prison. This is the old school, like, Hillary campaign culture war stuff. They're bringing out the classics for this. Like, we can't fight because the people asking us to fight are rich white people, but we're not all rich white people.
He literally just said, I can't fight because I'm gay. That's what he said. So
yeah.
Which I don't know if you've met any gay people, but they're just fine at fighting. And putting their bodies in order.
Dude,
Putting
that
their
was
bodies
gnarly.
for justice. So yeah.
I was in an all-male special operations unit, and we had a higher than normal percentage rate of gay dudes in there. Everyone's in better shape, and you get nice uniforms, and they're hard dudes. So
I've seen LGBT people risking their bodies and risking prison all over the place. So this guy is a coward who should stop. Who should get their name out of his mouth.
Yeah,
frankly.
and
Yeah. I'm sorry. When you see a purple-haired non-binary dude taking on a fully equipped SWAT team,
yeah,
it makes those dudes sitting at home with their cowboy hats and their shotgun look like complete pussies.
yeah.
Just saying.
So look, the bottom line is the Democratic Party is hand in glove with the Republican establishment. We've seen, back in 2005, okay, 25% of all illegal detentions, all migrant detentions were in private prisons, expanded to about 60% under Obama, 80% under Trump, 90% under Biden, and now we're here with Core Civic and Geo Group building Alligator Alcatraz and other detention facilities around here. So, they're not going to fight this. They're not going to do anything. Again, their only purpose is to block actual progressive movements from access to political power, while they completely toe the line with the fascists in order to maintain their privilege, their pocketbooks, and their access to political power.
Yeah, watch when the administration flips and it goes back to blue. Whenever it goes back to blue, keep a list of all these facilities and keep track of which ones actually close, because none of them are going to close.
And that's the thing.
They never do.
That's the thing about progressive social reformation. Ideologies, like, you have to keep fighting just to maintain the ones you got through blood, sweat, and tears. And once a civil or a right goes away, you're never getting it back. Like now Roe v. Wade, that's never coming back. It's too late. And the Democrats won't even push it. They're like, oh, it's too late. We actually have to abandon trans voters now because it's alienating, the disaffective conservatives that don't exist that we want to bring into the party. So
you're right. Yeah, that's why they abandoned the working class too. They abandoned the working class union. They abandoned all that stuff. And
So basically this is where we are at with these guys. And I was just asked, I was on a Breaking Points interview just now with James Lee, and he kind of asked this question, and I had a response that I hadn't given before. He was like, based on your experience in this ICE stuff, like within special operations and stuff in Afghanistan, is there anything that's kind of like you relate to? And I said, well, first of all, if we accept the premise that, fascism is imperialism turned inward, I absolutely see ICE people acting kind of like we had to. Like, we were stationed in Afghanistan, supposed to be going after high value targets and stuff. And if there was no intel, if there was no actual high value targets to go after, they were just kind of like, well, make something up, hit a likely target, hit something. So that's what we did, what we call dry holes. And we were basically like a terror squad. I'm 6'4". I was 240 at the time under full night vision. When we kicked down a door, those people were probably terrorized, and we had no intel on this. And of course, there was a drone strike, unspoken drone strike quota as well. And now looking at these ICE officers, we have Stephen Miller and Turtle Memos being like, we need more deportations. I don't give a shit if you have intelligence or whatever. You just start wrapping people up. And just like overseas, we weren't there in Afghanistan and Iraq to achieve strategic objectives. It was more like endless warfare until it becomes non-lucrative or politically viable. Well, we're going to see the same thing because we don't have the same amount of power projection overseas to gin up an endless war as of right now. You can argue whether or not that's trying to happen with Iran, but now that endless war state is coming home to us,
dude. It's right there. It's right there. When do you have a federal agency deploying in an American city, and its purpose is show of force and presence?
Yeah.
What the fuck is that? They don't have police jurisdiction in that city. They're not supposed to do anything other than capture quote unquote illegals and criminal illegals and whatever. But that wasn't their mission. Their mission, as stated, was to go stand in the fucking park and show their power. 100%.
Yeah. I think, well, you know, like besides the photo op theory too, is like Greg pointed out, it's also, he pointed out in an earlier episode, this is a marketing strategy as well. You notice how they try to get some sexy footage wearing full battle rattle freaking night nods, you know, expensive equipment. This is to appeal to all the LARPers out there who play airsoft, which no shade on that. Good training, but they're trying to make it attractive. And but what to me, what I feel like the risk that they're playing with is they're really trying to milk you know, blood out of a turnip when it comes to like the enemy here. So like Greg, you were talking about in Afghanistan, well, the perceived enemy was what? Al-Qaeda and the Taliban. Well, here they're really milking this MS-13. And I have not heard of anybody who's been affected by MS-13. And they've been pushing this MS-13 narrative for the past 10 years. I don't know if you remember, but Fox News has constantly trying to find a boogeyman here on home soil. And it's hard to find because crime is going down. In general, crime is just going down. There's not really any type of major
and also,
crime or criminal organizations, organized, you know, lethal criminal organizations. So they've been ginning up this MS-13 narrative, and nobody's buying it anymore. Not even people on the right.
That's this narrative here, right, Mark? That ties in exactly.
And narco-terrorism. You're going to hear that buzzword.
This park is the founding home of MS-13, and we're going to go stand in the middle.
What is there a tunnel underground? Is MS-13 underneath the park? Are they? Do they
no, they're in league with they're in league with Hamas in Iranian sleeper cells.
Right. So, and the other thing that they're trying to, like, you're going to hear this word a lot, guys. Narco-terrorism. Because narcotics has nothing to do with just providing filling a need and business. It has nothing to do with just income or revenue or supply and demand. No, it's narco terrorism. So, and I'll play a clip like later on in the episode about the strategy that they've been trying to use to gin up manufactured consent for this massive police state through federal powers. But that's the new buzzword. Is going to be narco terrorism, MS-13. Sleeper cells, and they're going to try to squeeze as much as they can out of that, and it's just not working, even with the right. Okay,
right. And here's one thing, just to drive home the desire for the imperial powers, which can no longer project imperial power like we could in the 90s or the early 2000s with the global war on terror. This is the face of it. This is the face of eternal war. This is from a border chief. From Customs and Border Patrol from earlier this morning in full kit outside of an armored personnel carrier. And he says, get used to it.
Palestinian relocation
oh, crap. Sorry. That was Trump. That was a different guy that wants eternal war.
He looked
get used to the shit smell. That was that. You get used to it.
All right. Yeah. His cocaine diapers from the 80s. Yeah. Anyways. Here's a Border Patrol chief about what's happening with their presence in L.A.
Federal government is not leaving L.A. I don't work for Karen Bass. The federal government doesn't work for Karen Bass. We're going to be here till that mission's accomplished, as I said, and better get used to us now because this is going to be normal very soon.
Right. What's the mission though? What is the mission, bro? Like, are you getting rid of MS-13? You getting them? Did you get them yet? Like, what is that old person at the car wash? Did you do mission part of it?
Drug war that went well.
Okay. Well, also, no, the mission is now like the MS-13, Iranian sleeper cells, illegal aliens. This is the new nation building exercise of the new global war on terror. So, like, remember when we said we're doing nation building exercises in Afghanistan, and that's going to take 40 years. Iraq is going to take 40 years of us being there to build up the government and its institutions. This is the new nation building exercise.
They picked the wrong fucking city, dude.
So the question is, why California? Why are they going after California first? Well, if you've noticed, like in the past, I want to say 5 years, you've noticed on social media kind of like this culture war between California and the rest of the country. Right, you've seen that kind of sentiments drawn out. Fuck California. Look how terrible they're. And granted, California does suck, especially when it costs of living and homeless crisis. But I realize that the reason
in the world by itself, but sure.
Yeah, but I realize that this astroturfed, aggression between different states like California is to drive up the sentiments in the other states to be cheering on, Trump. like putting a stop to all this craziness in California, sending in the National Guard, sending in ICE, sending in federal powers. We don't answer to Karen Bass. Well, yeah, you might not answer to her, but you sure are cooperating with her for a fucking photo op in MacArthur Park. So that's why highlighting the fact that they set up a photo op with Karen Bass in MacArthur Park should tell you that they're fucking working together. And that should create a disillusionment across the fucking board, which is why I'm going to be pushing this point till the day I fucking die.
Okay, yeah, push it. But I'm going to expand on it a little bit. You know, what they're coming for now, because of course they keep moving the goalposts so they can go after whoever they want. They just have to do it slowly. First, they were going after the worst of the worst. Then the MS-13, then the criminals, then the people here illegally that committed crimes, then the people just here illegally. And then, oh, wait, no, people that were here legally, but now they can't be here anymore. Also revoking student visas. And of course, next, they're coming for the naturalized citizens. And let me just play a primer on that, because that's going to be the next legal battleground. And of course, Obama really expanded this practice.
The Justice Department is now aggressively prioritizing efforts to strip naturalized U.S. citizens of their citizenship. NPR's Jacqueline Diaz reports the DOJ is focused on cases where naturalized American citizens commit certain crimes.
The new stance towards naturalized citizens who commit crimes is laid out in a memo from the Justice Department to its Civil Division employees. Those crimes could include anything from national security incidents to cases of fraud, according to the memo. According to 2023 data, 25 million immigrants are naturalized U.S. citizens. Denaturalization has existed for decades and was used widely to deport citizens accused of being communists during the 1950s. Some immigration attorneys have expressed concerns over this expanded denaturalization effort, questioning whether it is constitutional and how the families of naturalized citizens would be impacted.
That's interesting. The McCarthyism of our time is not necessarily communism. I mean, that's going to be part of it. Trump was just talking about how Mamdani is a communist and cannot be allowed to like control New York City. But it's going to be anyone who criticizes the national security state can be denaturalized. If you don't toe the line, we've already seen student visas get pulled. Now you have to reveal 5 years of your social security just to apply to any kind of visa now within the United States. This is the new form of McCarthyism. It's going to be anyone who talks about like anti-ICE stuff, which they're monitoring, pro-Palestine stuff, like anti-war with Iran stuff. This is the new national security, McCarthyism, denaturalization stuff. And once they're done with denaturalized citizens, they're going to go, they're going to go for people who were born here. Try to get rid of birthright citizenship, and then come for even, white people.
And they're trying to clump up like the communism, pro-Palestinian movement, Democrats, MS-13, narco-terrorism. They're going to be clumping all of this up into one little box. And they're going to say, hey, look, we are under attack from this massive coalition between these enemies of the United States. That's how they're going to try and gin up support for this on the right, is that paranoia, that McCarthyism. I don't think it's going to work, though, because I think that the pro-Palestinian movement has done a great job of reaching people across the aisle evenly. Like, we are seeing a massive flood from people on the right over into the pro-Palestinian movement. And they're starting to wake up to the fact of, Israel's influence in our politics. So that's going to be a hard sell, in my opinion. And I totally agree.
I think tying that bifurcation, like what side you're on, tying the right side of it to Israel is really starting to bite them in the ass.
It is.
I think a lot of like right-wing Americans even are waking up to, hey, wait a minute, what the fuck? Why am I paying for this? Why am I supporting this? Why are they buying my politicians? Yeah, I think there's an awakening going on there.
Right. And now one of the interesting things, and this can be a transition, I do want to get back to like ICE agents being targeted now in Texas. They're also going to use that as a crackdown. It was bound to happen. Yeah. I'm surprised it didn't happen sooner, but we're going to put a pin in that for the next segment, which was Israel, the connection to the Epstein files. I know Mark has a lot to say on this, but before I let him go off about how this might impact the right, I want to say that their entire messaging for their culture war, just within MAGA, has the core of it, the nucleus, the entire anchor of it was ostensibly this campaign to protect children. Anti-abortion legislation, protect children. The persecution of and demonization of drag queens, reading to kids, protecting children. Trans rights, bad, protecting children. You don't want just kids mutilating themselves, without their own free will. And then, of course, this anti-human trafficking thing started organically, in some spaces like QAnon, stuff like that. It was then crafted by think tanks like the Heritage Foundation into an overall messaging. Yeah. And then also it was meant to, under the guise of protecting children, fight the woke ideology coming out of Hollywood and the elite democratic establishment that supports Hollywood, pushing all these woke diversity, DEI ideas around. But the core of it was protecting children. And that's why this Epstein file thing was so endemic to the entire movement. And now people are like, what the actual F is he tied in with Israel? Are they controlling our politics? We were supposed to be protecting children, but I guess we don't care about that anymore. Are we hypocrites? I don't know. What do you think, Mark?
I disagree with you on one key point, but I agree with you on most of it. I think that the human trafficking thing amongst the elites, I do believe it's real. I believe the conspiracy theories are absolutely real. If they're capable of a genocide, human trafficking is nothing for them. However, like you said, I think that once the cat got out of the bag when it came to the Epstein files, they had to now shift and redirect the public ire towards a Democrat-controlled deep state, not a bipartisan-controlled deep state. And that's what they try. I call it social judo. It's like when you realize that the public sentiments are growing and there is a revolutionary spirit brewing within the right, what they'll do is they'll take the momentum of that movement and shift it in another direction towards a controlled opposition like the Democrats, right? So as we know through the Epstein files, or what came out of the Epstein files, is that it was a bipartisan cooperation. I mean, there was Democrats and Republican donors, big oligarchs who went to that island. And what I found interesting is what happened on June 20th. So I want to talk about what's called sheepdogging. So sheepdogging is when you have it's a specific tactic where somebody herds dissenting people back into the establishment under the guise of reform and respectability. Common in electoral politics, someone presents a radical but ultimately guides people back to the system. So they did this with Kash Patel, who's the director of the FBI. So Kash Patel garnished this reputation as bucking the system. He was against the establishment. I think
AOC's a sheepdog too.
She's a sheepdog, exactly. Bernie Sanders, all these guys, they're sheepdogs. So Kash Patel, though, they really put a lot of effort into him. And one of the best ways, or one of the key strategies in reaching people who are like right, center right, libertarian minded, or even radical left is, what do? You go on the Joe Rogan podcast, the Joe Rogan Experience. That's how you wash your reputation. That's how you present yourself as a relatable human being. So what did they do? They sent Kash Patel to go on Joe Rogan to try and sell two main points. A, there's nothing to see here with the Epstein files. And trust me, bro, it's me, Kash Patel, and it's Bongino. You know us. We're trustable guys. We buck the system. And if we found something, we would have told you about it. So that was the strategy on the Joe Rogan podcast. The second thing he tried to sell was that, listen, this massive federal outreach of police and paramilitary power is for your safety. We're going to get out. We're going to catch those bad guys. We're going to catch those human traffickers. We're going to catch those narco terrorists. We're going to save you from the sleeper cells. We're on it, baby. That was the strategy and it fucking backfired. And this is why I am extremely optimistic. And I hate this idea that the right is not fracturing. They absolutely fucking are, because the comment section on that episode did not disappoint. And what was interesting about that particular episode with Joe Rogan is that Joe Rogan used cop police tactics to interrogate Patel, because what he did was there's a typical set of playbook that police will do, a good cop, bad cop strategy when they're interrogating you. First, they'll try to act relatable. They'll be like, hey, let's just talk, man. Let's smoke a cigar. You talk to me, I'll talk to you. Joe Rogan did that shit with Kash Patel, pretending to be his friend and then completely catching him in a lie. And he broke down. I'm going to play just a little clip of this because you can see the breakdown happening. And the reason why I'm pointing this out is because this was telling of how this is a why am I pointing this out? Because this shows the fracturing on the right that we can hone in on and then relate that to what they're also trying to sell you with ICE. So this is here, I'm gonna play this real quick.
You talk about how much can you talk about what you've seen?
Not yet. Just what I've told you.
Can you say you've seen anything?
No, that's the point, that there's nothing in there, like in the video. You be bored.
You talking about the video of the murder or the suicide?
The suicide.
But what about the video from the island?
Oh, sorry. So you're talking about two different things. So
sorry.
So again, we're going to give you everything we can, and people have to remember, we're not going to re-victimize women. We're not going to put that shit back out there. It's not happening, because then he wins. Not doing it.
AKA zero accountability for the people on the island.
Want to hate me for it? Fine. Again, logical play out. If there was a video of some guy or gal committing felonies on an island and I'm in charge, don't you think you'd see it?
If you have access to it.
If I have it. Period.
Right.
If I have it. If I have it.
Blur out faces. Like, what the fuck?
So
where else would it be?
Right. If you have it.
Right.
But you can't say that you have it.
No, we're giving you everything we have.
So far.
Everything we have so far is
Have you guys gone over all the video that's available?
Yeah, that's what I'm telling you. That's what takes so much damn time.
Right.
Okay, so that is
and
that.
Is there
now,
video
now
from the island?
Now this is him using his credibility. Hold on.
Me and Bongino and the folks have to say, look, we will give you everything we can, and then we will have done our job. Also, if I had a shred, me, Kash Patel, had a shred of evidence.
Me, Kash
the
Patel.
Russiagate guy, the Jan 6 guy, the COVID origins guy.
COVID origins guy.
Had a shred of evidence that this guy was murdered. I would be the first guy to bring this case hard and fast. And I would even doing press conferences every week on it.
Mm-hmm.
The first guy. That's what I'm asking people to play out to their logical conclusion. I'm not Comey. I'm not McCabe. I'm not the guy that was in the seat before.
Okay, so he's saying that, okay, the reason why, look, I'm not like the other guys. I'm not like the Democrats. We are not the Democratic Party. We're totally different. We're going to hold these people accountable. They're trying to create the separation from the Democratic Party, and nobody's fucking buying it. And you guys don't understand that this is a golden opportunity for us. Because because here's the thing. The reason why this is important, and I'm not trying to just focus in on Epstein and conspiracy theories. That's not my point here. The point I'm trying to focus in on is that if he is lying to you about the Epstein files, you can also make the connection that he's lying to you about the purpose of ICE. Because how fucked up is it if the people who went to Epstein's island, to Little St. James, are now in the control box of the most powerful police force this planet has ever seen, who can kidnap anybody without a warrant, without identifying themselves, and you don't know where they're going. So you're telling me you want a bunch of billionaire pedophiles behind the control booth of a powerful police force that can do that to you and your family?
Well,
if you guys can't, if you guys see, that's the connection that I want you guys on the left to start making with the right. That's how you can grab them. That's how you can turn them over to our side, because it's terrifying when you follow it out to its logical conclusion.
Yeah. Its logical conclusion is also that this isn't a left-right thing. This is a top-bottom thing.
Thank you.
These guys being in charge of these systems and these agencies with the ability to do this thing, it always has been. You know, what's that fucking meme? It always has been. It's always has been that way. They always have been able to disappear somebody if they wanted to. That's not fucking new, and that's not specific to party. That's oligarchs. That's corporatist power class. That's class war. It's never been left right.
Absolutely. And I've been seeing some like people on like constitutionalist podcasts being like, after the Epstein file like didn't drop, the only solution is 1776. I was like, you know what? I can work with that, especially.
Thank you. Work with it, dude.
Yeah, no, I agree. You can work with it 100%.
Yeah. And also, like, it's only getting worse. This was Trump from this morning. Let's just listen to how he expects people to deal with the big.
Okay. After you play that, I want to show you the cope that's going on. The cope. We got to talk about the cope.
Yeah, but this is actually a good prelude to the cope, because this is now Trump's position.
I love smoking copium.
Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? This guy's been talked about for years. You're asking, we have Texas, we have this, we have all of the things.
He literally hides behind the
buddy. Ooh,
Dude,
buddy.
he literally hides behind all the dead little girls at Camp Mystic.
Which, by the way, he was fucking golfing during. He didn't go there. He was fucking golfing, dick.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep going.
And are people still talking about this guy, this creep? That is unbelievable. Do you want to waste the time, and do you feel like answering?
I don't mind answering.
I mean, I can't believe you're asking a question on Epstein at a time like this, where we're having some of the greatest success and also tragedy with what happened in Texas. It just seems like a desecration. But
bro, again, you were freaking golfing. Not only was he golfing, but Ted Cruz again was not in the state. He was on vacation in Europe.
Wait, when did this? Sorry, go ahead.
Finish. No, this is from today.
Oh my god, this is fucking gold. Because like, there's no way, like he's basically just showing him. He's completely ripping off the mask. He's like, guys, can you just forget about it?
You know,
God, why do we gotta talk about it?
Did you see how quickly he went back and forth? His first excuse was he went Texas, and then he went, our administration's doing so good. Why are you even bringing this up? But also desecration because of Texas. Like, it was just like, don't talk about that.
That's totally out of the Democrat playbook. Why are we talking about doing something about, like, can't you just be appropriate right now? Like, dude, it's this is great. I love that. I love that clip. Thank you.
All right, so
let's talk about the cope real quick, because
the
5
minutes on the cope.
No,
5 minutes.
It'll take 2 minutes. It'll take 2
5
minutes.
minute cope break.
Okay, yeah, 5 minute cope break. Let's smoke this cope up. All right. So the cope is priceless, and whenever I want to go for some cope, I always check out Alex Jones, because he always has the best copes to defend Donald Trump. No. You got to watch this. This is gold. Hold on.
I'm saying because it's good.
Read in the FBI. Trump has taken control. He didn't do it. They're shutting it down from everything I've seen. He is taking control of the FBI CIA blackmail file. And now I suddenly see this deep state more and more rolling over. People say, well, that's very immoral to do. The argument would be it's too damaging to bring this back and bring down the whole government. I'm not endorsing that, but the best approximation I've got is they get the files, they raid the FBI. The FBI raids the FBI 5 months ago. When they hid the files in New York, they make the guy resign that was covering it up, and Comey's daughter's still there. They then load the gun, cock the gun, point at the deep state's head, and now suddenly the NATO, everybody's kissing Trump's butt, and it looks like Trump is now in control of the file, and obviously they're not going to read in the FBI. It's the CIA and Ratcliffe doing it. The best approximation I've got, and it is speculation, but I got a lot of points, is that Trump has decided to just use the file against them. What do you think, Judge?
I think you're right on point with that. I think a great deal of what happened.
Okay, so that's the code. Now let's see if it's working. Let's see the comments. Oh no, hold on.
In the file, you stupid fuck.
Yeah, so the cope is, you guys, he's playing 5D chess. He got the Epstein files, and now he's using it as he's using the blackmail as blackmail against the deep state. And bro, I'm telling you, the comment section on that could not make me more fucking happier. It was comments like, dude, like, Alex, just let it go, bro. Like, you got played, you know? And fuck, I had a video of the fucking comment section, and now it's gone. Oh, no, here's the comment section. Hold on. Comment section real quick. Incoming. 3, 2, 1. All right. Where are we at? All right. Hold on.
Actually, you know what? I'll narrate these because these are hilarious. Epstein had so many lists and would bet Trump on some of them. There is no video of them together at Epstein's. There is video of them at Epstein's party. I bet there is a guest list. LOL. Blackmail. What does justice have to do with responding to felonies with another felony? Just arrest them if their crimes can be plausibly persecuted. Or is Trump trying to make a deal to overturn his NYC convictions? Whoa, they're getting in on this.
Yeah. Keep going. Because, by the way, these are right wingers talking right now. These aren't left wing. These aren't liberals.
If this is the case, and Donald Trump is using child rape as a tool for blackmail, that makes him no better than Epstein himself, and as such is not fit for any measure of public service. Full stop. We're talking about the rape and torture of children. Next.
I love Joe Brown, but he's wrong. Trump is protecting himself and his social class. Thank you for bringing in class warfare. Here we go. This is a great sign, guys. Come on. We got to celebrate this.
Yeah, Darth Vader asks, are you going to join the America
Party? That's the other psyop that's coming, by the way. We'll talk about that.
Yeah, we'll do a whole episode on America Party. All right. Well, yeah, I'm not buying this take. Why would blackmail the deep state? Why would you blackmail a deep state? That still requires you to maintain a working relationship with said deep state. If you have what you need to blackmail, you also have what you need to put them away, or at least very least end their careers. All right.
There's one more. There's one more comment that I want to highlight.
Okay, what is it?
Keep going. You play it.
Oh, hang on. I exited out of the full screen. Okay. Play. Okay. I don't intend. Okay, still waiting.
What's it doing? Is it not playing? Okay.
I don't pretend to know the full contents of that file. I just know this. Every time
Turbo Cope. I love that comment. Turbo Cope.
I just know this. Every time the government insists something doesn't exist, that's usually when it's most real. They aren't trying to protect Epstein. They're trying to protect the network. Ooh. Yeah. And then someone said that blackmail doesn't seem to be working too well. Okay. So yeah, I do think like another time this happened was when Ben Shapiro like went off about like Luigi Mangione, who I didn't see shit. Okay. Allegedly smoked Brian Thompson. He did a whole thing.
We now have the answer.
Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
And he got absolutely ratioed in the comment section trying to defend billionaire CEOs.
You want to talk about ratio? Let's talk about ratio. Here's Ben Shapiro's take. This is our favorite Zionist, by the way, guys. He is a cartoonish character.
We now have the answers. And the problem is this. People who never hedged their bets, people who never at any point suggested to you that they don't have data to back up the speculation, that the speculation was in and of itself the conclusion, that if you speculate without evidence, that amounts to an actual conclusion to an investigation, they're going to be very upset today because it turns out that the DOJ and the FBI have concluded that Epstein didn't have a client list and died by suicide, according to a memo detailing the findings obtained by Axios. Now, again, does this put to bed like all inquiries? Of course not. People can continue to speculate as much as they want. And I think there's still open questions here regarding how did Epstein make his money? Right, that's a very serious open question. And the speculation for a long time was he made his money from blackmail. But the DOJ and the FBI, again, run by people like Dan Bongino and Kash Patel and Pam Bondi are telling you, I'm not telling you, they're telling you, people who are members of the Trump administration, people you elected and put into these positions to get you the truth on this matter, are telling you that he didn't, in fact, he was not murdered. He did not have a client list. And he did not blackmail powerful figures. Okay, right? That is the thing that they are saying, not I. They are saying.
Let it go, guys. God.
If you're willing to throw that over and claim they're lying, then I'd like to see you present your evidence that they are
where's your evidence,
lying. Because
bro?
I know Dan. I don't think that Dan Bongino is lying to me.
Okay.
I know Kash Patel a little bit. I don't think Kash Patel is lying.
Okay.
And here's
okay. I gotta get the last part.
He's such an AI generated.
Ben is right about everything.
Man.
These conspiracy theory. Okay, this is not going to be a positive thing for Ben. And anyways, so he got ratioed in the comment section. It did not go well. This is all good. This is all good signs, bro. That's my main point.
Yeah, and interesting. Talking about the class war stuff. I'm gonna pull this up real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is the one thing I definitely wanted to cover, not to cut off the very juicy, salacious Epstein stuff, which I know everybody loves because I was in an editorial meeting at Mint Press and they're like, "Can you do more on it?" I'm like, "I don't want to."
Anyway, what they want, Greg.
Yeah, this is what it kind of like circles back to too, talking about the ICE stuff, and I think I'm going to name this one Operation Excalibur, something about the test run for endless war here in America. But ICE agents, this is Fox News reporting from earlier this morning. ICE agents targeted in 2 ambush attacks in recent days. The byline is anti-government suspects allegedly shot a police officer in the neck while carrying propaganda materials calling for, quote, class war against ICE.
They're trying to, dude. Okay, I'm sorry, but here's what they're trying to do. They're already trying to prepare for the idea that Americans might be starting to call for class war, and they're going to try to frame. They're going to try to group that in with.
Yep.
They're already trying to set up their chess moves.
Dude, I'm amazed. Even like anyone who doesn't know what the word class war means, I'm amazed it's taken this long for any ICE officers to get popped. When that guy ambushed firefighters a couple weeks ago, I was like, "What the hell are you smoking, crazy?" Like all you had to do was pick the right fucking uniform, and you would have gone out a hero. because nobody likes these guys right now. You shot the one thing that everyone still loves, which is the fire department.
Yeah, ain't nobody wrote a song called "Fuck the Fire Department," but no, obviously it's going to be used for a crackdown to escalate further violence, because cops are always most dangerous when they're scared, and they're only going to get more scared.
That's what I think they wanted in MacArthur Park. They wanted fucking incidents like that.
Right. And so, yeah, the interesting thing is, like, they're inadvertently spreading the idea of class war, though, which is funny from a propaganda perspective.
Oops.
Whoops. Like when has like people on the right ever heard of a concept like class war? But now what they're trying to do is eventually, they're going to try to group in socialists or any sort of political dissent within the umbrella of this war on terrorism, war on drugs.
Thanks for doing the recruiting for us. We appreciate it.
Yeah. And
they've been reading my diary. That's the problem.
Yeah. and what we can look forward to, because a lot of people are going to make a lot of money, and they're pillaging the government, and they're just using one propaganda talking point to get to the next, just like they are with the Gaza ceasefire, to give time and political cover to completely annex all of it. They're giving these trying to get back into nuclear negotiations with Iran to give it time and political cover for us to send B-2 bombers to Israel. There's a bunker buster bill on the House floor right now. This is all part of the play. Their big, beautiful bill is giving tax cuts to the rich sooner than the Medicaid cuts will go into effect, which won't go into effect until after the midterms in 2026, just because they're buying for time for everything. But their end goal is the endless war state. And now that it's collapsing in on us, it's going to be here within the continental U.S. ICE now has a bigger budget than the Marine Corps and most militaries on the planet. So that's cool.
Yeah. They think the most was like the most funded of all the. First of all, Greg, I don't know how you dare talk about this after what happened in Texas today. I think like you're really, sacrilegious.
It's insensitive. Absolutely.
Sorry, I was just trying to throw some cope in there. That's what we do now.
Sniff that cope. Hey,
no, I think they got more money than any other federal agency or something, right? Like that's what I think that's what I saw.
Yeah. We all saw that coming. So I gotta be going soon, guys. So I want to leave this off on a few things, and then I'll dip out, and you guys can go into whatever rabbit hole you want to go into. But the reason why I am honing in on the whole Epstein thing, and highlighting these moments of blunder with the whole fuck up with the rollout of this conclusion by the FBI and the DOJ, it's because one of the most important things you can do, and this is my advice to everybody, my call to action, is to dismantle the illusion of the Democrat and Republican Party dichotomy, and to signal very clearly to the average person on the right that you hate the Democrats just as much as they do. So stop flirting with the liberals. You are in an abusive relationship with liberals if you think you're going to convert them over. Focus more on the right-wing working class. Find that common ground with the right, and then push them to completely abandon Trump and the Republican Party, while you make it very clear that you are in no way, shape, or form affiliated or support the Democratic Party or liberals. Destroy the illusion of these two fake opposing forces, and you will have gotten us closer to class war. You are going to see a theatrical exchange of aggression between the Democrats and Republicans. This is to convince Americans that there is a dividing line between the two. And just FYI, our golden window is getting smaller. Their next move is manufacturing a civil war. I'm already seeing them line up the pieces. The Democrats are adopting revolutionary resistance language. Gavin Newsom is being presented as the opposition to Trump, and the ice storm in Cali is meant to stoke a heavy backlash from the public to manufacture consent for full-on crackdown. That's their game plan. We have to unite for class war before the Dems and Republicans divide us over in a civil war. So
I don't
why
think
is
it's
this
going to work.
important? It's not going to work, and that's good. Hey, I like that optimism. Thanks, Greg. Why is this important, and why is the whole Epstein thing important? Well, it's because it's relevant to class solidarity. Here's what I'm getting at. If we can connect this culture of lying by the Trump administration with the police state culture, maybe we can get them to see that ICE is in fact just a paramilitary arm of the ruling class elites who went to Little St. James. Patel wasn't just trying to sell the American public on closing the Epstein case. He was trying to sell the American public on this massive federal controlled police state where armed, masked thugs can just grab anyone. And the reason why that should concern you on the right, if you happen to be conservative who cares about holding the elites who raped kids on that island, is that the people who went to that island are now essentially in the control station of this massive militarized paramilitary that can take your loved ones. They sold you on it by marketing it as a means to your safety from MS-13 or narco terrorist or the sleeper cells, just like Bush sold you on the Patriot Act to protect you from Al-Qaeda, an organization that we now work with overseas and we fund. So ask yourself, have we been here before? And do you really want the people who are covering for Epstein in control of the most powerful paramilitary police force with carte blanche to arrest anybody without a warrant to undisclosed locations? Instead of Little St. James, think of 100 Little St. James all around the country. There is a massive opportunity here and on the left, here's my message to you. There is a massive opportunity here with this news about Epstein. If we can connect Epstein with ICE and the police state to protect the ones on the list, I am losing my shit with the left, to be quite honest. It's this sulking, pessimistic, defeatist attitude that is so counter-revolutionary. These comments like, oh my God, how can I unite with people who want me dead? You're talking about the SS division of the right. Okay, for one thing, the right, like everything else, is a spectrum. It ranges from pot-smoking, gay, pro-life people all the way to fascist Islamophobes. You have pro-poly isolationists. You have a full spectrum of the right. They are not all Nazis. And by pushing that narrative, you are creating fear amongst the other people on the left to not try to make any type of effort. So that's my little spiel. And as far as the good news, as far as some positive imagery, instead of us just bringing you into this, a spiral of gloom, here's the good news. These are Haitians in Brooklyn beating the fuck out of ICE.
Yeah, and that's exactly why Tom Homan got on camera yesterday and said they're going to flood the zone and all assets with ICE. And I just wanted to remind people that all these policymakers that are implementing these friggin' ancient creep keepers are implementing all these policies, both on the bipartisan domestic decision-making process, or like the same kind of people that were running around the same think tanks saying that Iraq and Afghanistan were going to work out. But of course, their goal, the America's goal, is not to win wars or accomplish strategic goals that they state. The goal is to make a bunch of money and keep it going on forever. And, neither project worked. So there's no reason we should believe that this project will either.
My closing thought is I want everybody out there to know that if you're downtown in an American city in tactical gear with your face covered, we all assume that you have a tiny dick, beat your wife, and got beat up in high school.
Yeah.
And you probably traffic children.
Yeah. And your dad still thinks you're a little pansy boy.
Oh, fuck me.
Yeah. So I think you guys both have to hang out. I'm gonna peace out. I'm gonna stay around and do a couple plugs and add some finishing comments.
Can I play one more thing? One more thing on the Haitian thing.
Travis has to go though. Bye,
I'll
Travis.
see you guys later.
Travis, hey, love you, bro. Thanks for coming on.
Love you too. Good seeing you.
All right, take care. Here we go with the Haitian situation.
Didn't scatter. They organized. They fought back. They stood together. After the government announced it was ending the temporary protection status for over 500,000 Haitians, families who have lived here for decades, panic spread. People rushed to get passports for their U.S.-born children, fearing they get deported to a country they have never seen. What did the Haitians do? They leaned on each other. In cities like Miami, New York, Springfield, Ohio, churches opened up, lawyers volunteered, and neighbors became each other's protectors. ICE raids were met with resistance. Community groups tracked ICE raids in real time, alerting families block by block. In Little Haiti, people actually stood in front of buses, refusing to let their neighbors be taken away. WhatsApp groups lit up. People shared resources. They turned fear into fuel. And ICE couldn't crack them. And then came the legal win. A federal judge struck down the deportation order. They said the government acted unlawfully. That was power, not just from the courts, but from the people who refused to be taken.
There you go. There's my closing thought. I gotta head out. By the way, yesterday was the closing of the pre-sale. After this, we'll be trying to fill out orders. So we're gonna start to get the shirts made that all of you guys who ordered. We're gonna try to get them made and sent off to you as soon as we can. So be patient with me. We're gonna get that going. So as always, love you, fam. Thanks, Greg. Great episode. I think we covered a lot of good ground here.
We did cover a lot of ground. I just want to say one thing amongst all these hopeful comments. Do not Do not pay attention to neoliberal bullshit like this. Los Angeles Magazine, the quote, summer of resistance continues with the run against ICE. As ICE raids intensify across Los Angeles, residents are finding new ways to voice their opposition, this time by running. That is trash. Throw that out the freaking door. That's not how we do it, okay? We know how we do it through community defense, mutual aid. And again, like the guy said, sticking together. Do not go on fun runs. That's what they want you to do. So
don't wear pussy hats either.
Yeah, don't do the pink pussy hat stuff. All right, you're leaving. I'm going to stick around for a couple plugs. Cheers, y'all. Peace. All right, so we are on Spotify and Patreon and all sorts of other stuff. If you want to check us out, if you're on Apple Podcasts, please swing by Apple Podcasts and give us a 5-star review. It pushes us into a better algorithm. I guess, I'm kind of talked out. I had an interview earlier, then I got to go on the Katie Halper show tonight. So I think I'm going to call it chill out and post this video. Thanks so much, guys. We are on Patreon, where you can follow us for free and get notified whenever we drop an episode like this. This has been Operation Excalibur, how they're going to do like Forever Wars here in America. They're going to fail. And you guys are great. See you tomorrow for the episode on the BRICS Summit and what's going on in Gaza with Alina Xenofontos. Cheers, y'all. See you tomorrow.